Hey all, here talking to the void once more, and this time discussing Midsommer as we continue to backfill on a lot of the more recent movies that I've just been missing out on. Now, this one's Ari Aster's latest, and for those of you who don't know, he also was the mind behind Hereditary, which is, that movie's an experience. And watching Midsummer, this one definitely also can qualify under that descriptor. It definitely feels like the same hands were on this movie as that one. That said, watching this movie, I can't help but draw comparisons to The Wicker Man, which I'm not probably not the first person to make that connection, but it definitely there's a lot of similarities there, given the nature of the commune or cult and pretty much the outsiders coming in and being forced to interact with it. I will say Wicker Man had a stronger premise of the man looking for a missing girl on an island covered in a cult, while this one it's more of a group of friends just gets invited by one of the members who's their college friend to come spend festival time out in Sweden. And well, things happen. I will say this has got to be one of the brightest lit horror movies I've ever seen. The entire, almost the entire thing is done in like broad daylight, and it definitely adds to a surreal mood that the movie definitely comes across. Um, I'm not sure if this delivered exactly what I was expecting. This movie has been kind of talked up a little bit, and while there were parts that were definitely extreme, I don't know if this one really it's no Hereditary. Though when it does go gory, it goes all the way, and it does not shy away from anything when it comes to the cultic rituals. So I do appreciate that it didn't hold anything back, but at the same time, it just the movie was a little bit of a too slow of a burn for me in this case. There wasn't enough happening in between the larger set pieces. The characters were fine enough. None of them really jumped out as good or bad, with the exception of one of their friends who they just kind of made him a prat in all ways possible. You were not supposed to like this character, so everything about him is unlikable, and what happens to him isn't even a very satisfying payoff, as most of that happens off camera. So it's a weird back and forth there, though a little bit more about the setup, I suppose. The main girl, Danny, is reeling from a shock as there was a terrible incident involving her sister and their parents. So now she's pretty much alone with a boyfriend who's already contemplating breaking up with her. She's seeing a therapist and is on some anti-anxiety medication. And on top of all of that is then brought to this cult. It's hard to describe this movie. It's worth seeing, but you definitely have to be in the right mood, and it is not a short movie. I just watched the theatrical version, which was about 2.5 hours long, and apparently there's also a director's cut, which is nearly 3 hours long, and I don't know if that would have added the things I'm looking for, but at the same time, I think this movie was long enough. I don't think there's anything else really to talk about in terms of this one. I am looking forward to seeing what Ari Aster does come up with for another film, since he's two for two on some very effective movies, even if Hereditary was a better venture than Midsummer. But overall, there aren't enough good quality cult movies. I mean, there's a few here or there, but with the exception of The Wicker Man, I did enjoy seeing another of this type of movie. Well, that should be it on this one.